Hey guys, I'm here with a follow-up guide to my last Treasure Scramble forest guide. I've just hit 7 teams, so I want to show you guys my teams, and then I also want to show you guys a guide on the best in slot teams. So if you guys have different Awakened heroes than me built, you would be able to build the teams that correspond with those heroes. So for the Treasure Scramble, currently I'm sitting at top 1%, and usually for me I end at top 1 or top 2% because once I hit 7 teams, I don't really have strong teams. But let's just look at my current 7 teams. I'll first take a look at the win rates, and then I'll take a look at the team builder so I can show you guys the pets as well. So for the first team here, it seems I've been unlucky, or maybe this team isn't as good as it used to, because it used to have a little higher win rate than this. But this is the Wilder Soulless team, and I'm using Kanisa and Rook because I haven't built. Without the 9 furniture, though, I really need that for the energy disintegration. But yeah, it's a fairly strong team. And then for the team 2, right, this is the best team, or my best team, pretty much. And it's very nice because it's a super cheap team, right? It's the dimensional team. And obviously, if you had Emilia built, you would use her here as well. But my Emilia is not very built out. But yeah, it's nice to see a very free-to-play friendly team being such high win rate. And then for the team 3, this is the rushing team, right? And here, obviously, if you had Awakened Thalia or Thane, you would use them here, but I don't. So I used Yoren, who is close to 9 furniture as well. And as you can see, 70% win rate is not bad. For team 4, this is the Energy Disintegration Graveborn Ulna team. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent team, right? 35% win rate, we take those. And then for team 5, this is the Belinda team, right? 60% win rate, pretty standard for Belinda. For team 6, this is the Thorin Stall Cheese team with the seal, which actually has a 32% win rate. And then for team 7, I basically just threw in random heroes, and somehow this is 30%. But I do want to go over the pets real quick so you guys can check those out. So for the first team, I'm using the Fire Breather because everything gets kind of grouped up. So the Fire Breather hits a lot of enemies. Wait, be right back. I gotta close my door. There we go. Sorry. Alright, so the Fire Breather for this team. For the second team here, I'm using the Winged Lion to add more DPS and basically help Rem one-shot everything. For the team 3, I'm using the Owl because these heroes end up landing on top of each other very quickly, and then this would prolong buffs and debuffs in that group. And then for this one, this is the Energy Disintegration team, so I use the Energy Disintegration pet. So basically just keep it's in line with the theme of this team, right? And then for the 5th team, this is the Belinda team, and she is basically tied to the Rock Lizard because this team needs survivability, not damage, and that's what the Rock Lizard provides. And then obviously for this team, you have to use the Seal Pet, because if you don't use the Seal Pet, this team doesn't work because it has no damage. It's all about stalling and then letting the Seal Pet kill everything. And then for the last team, this is my my homebrew team, like who let them cook. I just, throwing in generally useful heroes, right? Scarlet's a good damage hero. I know Desira used to be good in PvP because she stalls battles out with damage reduction, and then obviously Anasta and Helios are strong heroes. So those are my teams, right? But obviously you might not be able to build the teams that I have, so we'll go over to the guides made by the folks at the Neuromancer Guild, who's a top PvP guild, or just a top guild in general, right? But also top PvP guild. So if I can switch the scene. Alright, so here we are at the Neuromancer Guild, a guide made by Laplong Lang, who is, if you guys don't know, top PvP players are in this guild in the game, and they make this guide. Now, for this guide, it's the guide from the last rotation, which means I don't think it contains Awakened Thalia if you guys have her built. However, I was able to find the 5-team guide from this rotation, but not the 7-team guide. But in here, as you can see, it has the new Celestial hero, and also it has Awakened Thalia. But it doesn't have 7 teams, obviously. So I'll just start in this guide, and I'll go over to the next guide afterwards. And I'll link both these guides in the description. But if we start here, right, it's the flowchart that we all know and love, right? It's if you have Belinda or if you don't have Belinda flowchart. And basically, as you can see, this is pretty much how I structured my teams, right? So I don't have Matria, and I expect most of you guys don't have Matria, right? So you build the Soulless team, right? This is the team that I did with Mishka, which apparently doesn't work that well anymore, or at least it didn't work that well for me this round. But this is the team that they suggest, right? And obviously you can use a Brutus, as you can see, some different replacements here, like Brutus instead of Kanisa and Rook. Also, I apologize for the image quality, but I'm pretty sure this guide has been screenshot so many times. So when I finally got my hands on it, it's probably been through lots of screenshots, right? But this is the highest definition screenshot I could find of it. Anyways, for Team 2, this is the Dimensional team, which I'll go look at the 5 teams guide for this one because it's more updated, right? For Team 3, this is the Rushing team that I use, right? Where I use, instead of Safriel, I use Yorin here, right, as a replacement. And then for Team 4, this is the Energy Disintegration team, or it is for me, but if you have Awakened Baden or Mulan and Athalia build, it's kind of a rushing stall team, right, with Vespero Pit still. And then for Team 5, this is the Brutus team, right, which for obvious reasons I can't build because I don't have Brutus built out. Actually, I did try this team once with a Legendary Brutus, and I think I got around 17% win rate. So if you guys have nothing that works, but you have a Legendary Brutus and you can make some sort of variation of this team, it's actually like, well, it's not good because it's 17% win rate, but you know, it's better than 0 if you have no teams. And then for Team 6, it's obviously the Belinda team, and then Team 7, if you have Awakened Thane, he makes his own Lightbearer Awakened Thane team. But yeah, I'll link this guide in the description so you guys can go through it by on your own, right, and look at the guides that are relevant for you, or the teams that are relevant for you. But I do want to look at the 5 team guide, right? And as you can see here, this is a newer guide because the definition is higher, which means this hasn't been screenshotted as many times probably. Again, it's by the same guys over at the Neuromancer guild, right, Laplong Lang, and then it's collabed with Arise, which I believe is a guild as well, or it could be a player actually, I'm not sure, but I think it's a guild. Anyways, as you can see, this is from this rotation, right, and it's the it's the 5 team guide. So the most relevant things to look at here are the for example the Dimensional team, right, because this is the 5 team guide. So it uses Brutus in here, but obviously we know that Brutus makes his own team at 7 teams, which means that in here you probably want to use Belinda and Emilia if you have them built, and then instead of Brutus you probably just want to use any of these replacements instead of Brutus, right? That's what I did anyways, and my team is at 75% win rate. For the Belinda team, as you can see, the new Celestial hero goes into the Belinda team now instead of Aziz. However, you know, as it says here, no Damia is normal Aziz, and that's what I did, right, because I don't have Damia. This is the Awakened Thane team, and or Awakened Athalia. If you have her built, she can make her own team as well, right? But as you can also see in here, right, Athalia is also used. However, obviously, if you can make Athalia work in this team, right, then you can get 2 teams out of these formations if you have a replacement for Athalia instead of her over here, right, and that's much better. But anyways, as you can see, it's pretty standard Thane team, right, using a lot of Lightbearer heroes along with Celestial to get the 5 team bonus, and then letting Thane one-shot everything as per usual. And then here's the Speed team, right, which again uses Awakened Athalia, but if you don't have her, there's a bunch of replacements, and this is where I use Yorin, right, because I don't really have any of these replacements available. Interestingly enough, it uses Anasta, who I use in my homemade team, right, but I could try her out in this team next time around, though. I don't think I have time to try her out now. My team seems pretty solid, and this is where the Thorn team is, right. So it's the this is kind of the Soulless team that I built, right, with Kanisa and Rook and Soulless and lots of Wilders. And as you can see here, there's also another team which I also built, which is the Seal team, basically. It says that you should only make this team if you have a Seal level 15 plus, which is probably true. However, the thing about this team is even if you don't have it, the seal at 15 plus, I think my seal is level 10 or 11. I'm building it out, right? But even if you don't have it at 15, this team still works. You know, as I showed you guys, my team is actually winning some battles. So this is a very free-to-play friendly team, I'll say, right? It uses pretty inexpensive heroes, right? That many people have built to make a decent PvP team. So I would highly recommend you guys try to make this team work, because it's basically, you just use a pet and you gain an entire slot for your teams, right? Which is completely crazy for value. But anyways, I'll link both of these guides in the description. Obviously, this is the more up-to-date guide, but it only has 5 teams. However, it actually kind of has 6 teams, right, with the seal team down here. And then for this team, right, basically what you would look at is these 6 teams, right, and then you would look at the Brutus team over here, because that's the one team that isn't represented, right? So it's the 6 teams in here with the Thorin, and then it's the Brutus team. That would pretty much be my meta read based on these guides for this round of the treasure scramble. Now, interestingly enough, if you guys haven't been following the news, we're getting a new round of the treasure scramble, which I think is the mist round. Instead of, you know, we have forest, fire, and ice. Now I think we get the smoke or mist round, depending on translation. So obviously I'll be making guides for that once that comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to go over. I hope you guys can improve your treasure scramble rank and get some of those sweet rewards. The main rewards I'm looking for here is baits. Actually, I'm highly focusing on pets now, and I recommend you guys to do the same, because it seems like pets are super relevant, and once you get the resonating high enough, like, you don't have to think about them anymore, right? So that's what I'm doing. Anyways, I hope this guide helped you guys, and thanks for watching.